We are back at it with part 2 of SojuTalk episode 107, where we discuss recent K-pop news and events, have a visit from Cousin Harold, and give you the state of the nation. Let's get it. All right, news and events from last week. It's Chuseok weekend in Korea, so there was not a ton of news. So I scrounged around a little. I got some news up in here.
Everybody.
Yes.
So the first one is called Blackpink in your area. So this is just a bunch of Blackpink stuff that happened. The first one, Blackpink recorded over 1 million stock pre-orders for their first full album, The Album, which dropped on October 2nd.
Oh my goodness.
Lovesick Girls also went number 1 in at least 57 different countries on iTunes. Additionally, the title track Lovesick Girls also peaked on the charts at number 1 on Bugs, number 1 on Genie, number 2 on Flow, number 2 on Vibe, number 3 on Melon, and number 21 on Soribara. Additionally, it seems that Soribara and Melon Real Time are not included on iChart anymore. And in terms of Melon, I remember we mentioned this a couple months ago or something, that Melon was changing things up, and now it has a daily chart and a 24-hour rolling chart, which are now both included on iChart. So I think that switch happened. First of all, so we only got the figures for 1 million stock pre-orders. I think it's because something to do with the distribution, where they're not actually counting the totals of regular sales to like normal people yet, not to the stores. We'll probably give you an updated figure on that next week.
That's good.
In terms of them not all killing, it's really because of BTS's Dynamite is still dominating most of the charts. That's like literally what it is.
Jesus.
Yeah, they're still really dominant on the charts. Overall though, great accomplishment for them. I think 1 million stock pre-orders is a bit of a game changer for girl groups specifically.
That number.
That's a big number.
Because I think previously it's like girl groups were maxing. I know a couple of them went over 500,000 this year, but if I understood correctly, like the record was like 600,000 or something like that, right? So,
I mean, like if I was a Blink, like I've been waiting
yeah, for sure.
for a long time, so I probably have some stacks of bills, ready to just spend it on the albums.
I think we had always talked. I know like Blackpink sometimes comes up as a little bit of a meme, right? Like how they're never around and stuff. And I think the thing I had always pointed at is like the product is not matching the hype yet in terms of sales and physical albums and things like that. I think regardless of what you think about their music, the fact that they could sell 1 million stock pre-orders says a lot about their popularity.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, totally.
All right, we can move on now. So Blackpink was also featured on YouTube's new weekly music show called Released. So the 16-episode series will feature different artists each week, and each 15-minute episode highlights musical moments until an exclusive music video premieres on YouTube. So basically, it's like sort of expanding YouTube's premiere system that happens now, where you can like build up hype. So basically, they released this like 15-minute episode thing that getting you hype, and then it ends with the music video dropping, I think. So the premiere episode of Released featured Blackpink, of course, on their official YouTube channel, and it dropped on October 1st.
Oh, okay.
So it's already out there. Next, Blackpink will also be guesting on the October 17th episode of Knowing Bros. So that should be pretty fun. And lastly, Blackpink also picked up some nominations for the 2020 E-People's Choice Awards, but that will be covered in more detail during Quick Takes because BTS also got some nominations, so we combined it.
I think there are a lot of eyes with this comeback, right? With this promotion.
Yeah, of course.
I, in particular, have been kind of curious. Are we living in the era of K-pop, or are we living in the era of BTS? Sometimes I'm not quite sure. Because
Explain. Explain.
I think I understand what you mean, but
Right.
you go ahead.
BTS has had amounts of crazy success, crazy amount of awesome dedicated fans. That I don't think anybody's going to argue against that. Are we all in
Yes.
agreement here? Right, right.
Of course, yes.
The thing is, if some of the media has been like, "Oh, K-pop is taking over America," but my question has been, besides BTS, there hasn't been an artist that reached that level of hype. At that point, my argument becomes, well, maybe it's not K-pop that's taken over America or the rest of the world. Maybe it's BTS that's taken over America and the rest of the world. Now, in order for us to say that K-pop is being successful in the Western market, we need second, third artists that need to kind of get to a certain level of success outside the Korean market. I think Blackpink is the most likely to kind of, follow the
It's
footsteps.
them or Super M, honestly.
Them, Super M, I can't think of any other right now.
Honestly,
I'm sure there are more, right?
Honestly, like KDA. Not gonna lie.
No, actually, you bring
Really?
up a good point because
Yeah,
KDA has a
they're
big.
basically considered K-pop at this point.
Wow.
Basically. Yeah.
I mean, they have all the league fans behind them, and they love Mush Venom, so like they do have a chance. Like,
We'll have to see though, but
We'll
I
see.
think that's a really good point, and we're gonna talk about more things like that in the hot take this week. So
Oh,
that's a little bit of a spoiler.
yeah.
But let's
we
move
go.
on to the next news segment. This is a long one. Bear with me. We'll break it up into chunks though. So
Okay.
the title is Korean government pledges to protect underage celebrities and trainees. So on September 28th, the Korean government presented an action plan to the 119th Government Evaluation Committee in order to improve the protection and rights and interests of underage celebrities and trainees. The Office of Government Policy Coordination prepared the action plan through discussion with the Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism, Korea Communications Commission, Korea Entertainment Producers Association, Korea Management Federation, and the Korean Entertainment Management Association. So they basically got everyone related to the industry and sat them down and it's like, what do we want to do here in terms of protecting underage celebrities and trainees? So the plan was pretty much broken up into provisions, so I'm going to go through them. The first one, prevent entertainment agencies from demanding compensation from aspiring celebrities by making fraudulent promises of debut.
Oh.
So in order to do that, the agency search engine system of the Korea Creative Content Agencies, also known as KOCCA, which gives
KOCA.
which gives information about registered agencies, will be upgraded to provide more practical information. So they're expanding the information you'll get when you want to look up like agencies your kid might want to try to go into. Additionally, registered agencies and entertainment academies, which are now included in this, will be reviewed annually for adherence to the law. Moreover, inspections and fines will be strengthened with a special judicial police force created and assigned to crack down on unregistered agencies.
Wow.
That's
Okay.
quite a change already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot there. That's a lot to unpack. So first thing, they want to give, I am assuming specifically the parents of these kids, more information about the agencies that they might be applying to, right? Next thing is they're going to hold the agencies and now these entertainment academies more. So they're gonna give them what's the word that I'm looking for?
Accountability.
Audit.
Yeah, accountability. That's the word. So they're going to be held more accountable for what they do, which is great, right? Lastly, they're going to increase inspections and fines, which is great. And then they're going to crack down on unregistered agencies because I think on average they're more likely to do fraudulent practices or take advantage of the
Yeah.
kids.
Right. It sounds like they are going to present more information to the general
Yeah.
public and
Yeah.
do regular checkups to make sure that information is being kept up. That makes sense to me. We live in an age of information. Might as well as live up
Yeah.
to that age,
I think just more information is better because then parents will be able to choose like what they want to do with their kids. All right, so the second provision is establish fair audition practices and increase the use of standardized contracts. In an effort to curb corruption and fraud, an audition guideline will be created as well to further enhance the transparency of auditions. I read a statistic where I think 40-something% of kids who enter the entertainment industry go through just standard auditions, right? Additionally, a standard TV appearance contract for minors will be established, and the standard contract for pop culture artists will be reviewed and amended every 3 years to reflect the state of the nation at the time.
And the industry itself, right?
Yeah. So they're basically they're going to say like, all right, auditions have to be held in this manner, right? So it's not corrupted, it's not sketchy, anything like that. And then they're going to also have this TV appearance contract, right? That makes sense, right? So we know what's going on there.
Right.
And then lastly, that standard contract for everyone is going to be amended or changed every 3 years to reflect the state of the industry at the time.
I mean, some of this feels a little overdue, to be honest. Like, I mean, obviously,
Yes.
a lot
It all
of this
makes
is overdue.
sense.
But I'm thinking about the audition practices, right? That
Yeah.
to me reminds me of the law they passed a couple of years ago, where like when you're applying for a job at a company for like a software engineer or like an accountant or whatever, they a couple years ago they like strengthened the laws around like what information you can demand, like you cannot discriminate against people of
Yeah.
color, that kind of deal. This to me feels like finally they're putting that into this, K-pop industry, and then that is why I'm saying it feels a little overdue, because they could have done this years ago with the rest of that, but I mean, here we are.
This is also an attempt to curb like corruption. What I mean by that is like people having connections to get their kids debuted. That was also mentioned in like the overall plan, where they think it's unfair that certain kids know someone or their parents know someone, and then their kid doesn't have to audition and they get an easy ride into a group or something. That's also something they're trying to address as well.
Interesting.
All right. The next provision, number 3, increase protection of minors from inhumane working conditions such as long working hours, nighttime filming, etc. A standard, quote, standard TV appearance guideline, end quote, will be created for broadcasting channels to protect underage celebrities who appear on TV, with fines being added for those who do not comply. Additionally, cases of abuse which are brought up by minors will be prioritized.
I like this.
I like this too.
It really makes sense to me, right? Because
Makes
like
sense, yeah.
they already have some guidelines where minors can't appear past certain hours on television, but that's just appearing on television. They're expanding that to making them work late at night. Because like, let's say you film something late at night, but then you broadcast it during the day. I think right now that's a gray area as to what they're allowed to do, but I think they're trying to like really hammer home that they can't appear on TV late at night, nor can they work late at night. Makes sense to me.
Makes sense to me.
Lastly, I really like this one. Expand the mental health resources for minors in terms of psychological and career counseling. So Koka's Popular Culture and Arts Support Center will be expanded from 100 to 350 mental health professionals.
That's really nice.
That's nice. I feel like
they need that.
right. I feel like sure, Korea has been improving with their Korean society has been improving with the way they view mental health and whatnot. But I've noticed that trend with some of the younger people, the younger generation, whereas a lot of people in the older generation still find that a kind of a new concept. I think implementing it from the top down like this is kind of like a better way to introduce it to them. So I hope that kind of improves the overall impression of psychological things. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Mental health. Yeah.
Mental health.
Buzzwords.
Yes.
Boom. But I think that this makes a lot of sense to me. I think a lot of trainees, like, it's stressful, right? Like, you're young, you're impressionable, and you're already like, this is my dream, this is my one shot, right? Like, at a young age. Right. They need people to talk to, because the reality of the situation is not everyone's ever going to debut. Not everyone's going to have a ton of success, right? And at the end of the day, even if that occurs, it'd be nice for them to have someone to talk to like express these concerns or worries they have, right?
And like, the crazy thing was, like, for a while, I noticed in like dramas and like movies and whatnot, it was like a character cliche to have like a girl come from the countryside or Busan up to Seoul, and she like tried hard to be like a singer, but like turns out it was a fraud, and like her contract disappeared overnight. That was a media cliche of a character.
Dang.
If that's kind of absurd that like people who are victims of fraud like that are like a character cliche, like a character stereotype. That's like how
it's
common
well
is
known, then.
right. So I'm glad that they're cracking down on this, to be honest.
Lastly, the Korean government stated, quote, "We will semi-annually," so that means twice a year, inspect each provision for improvements so that the protection of underage celebrities' rights can be implemented smoothly. So they're going to basically look at these provisions multiple times a year, and then they're going to say, are we doing the right thing, or can we make these better?
Yeah,
Once every
something.
Oh yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just gonna say, as part of the provisions, right, and how they're gonna be like updating it and analyzing them pretty consistently, it seems. And something that I don't see here right now, but I'm hoping maybe later on in the future might be there, is the connection with education. Because I feel like with minors more than anything, like finishing their education if they want to and having like the time to do that and all that, I don't know if it's something that they can implement or expand on right now, but I feel like, as far as I know, when I hear minor K-pop idols, right, talk about their experience and like having to be like a full-time artist and a student, and how that works out or how it does not really work out, I think it would be interesting if there was something that could be done to facilitate that in some way or other. I don't know. I think to make it more feasible, where they don't have to necessarily choose to either like drop out of school or not really fulfill their student requirements while they're working as an artist and they're minors. I think that would be interesting to see as well.
So, you go first, Warren.
I think there is a bit of debate over that. Where people
I would guess.
Right. Like some people think, why spend time in school when you could be learning real life experiences in the thing? And other people obviously argue, well, are they good at multiplication? Do they have real life skills to spend the rest of their lives in a normal, as a normal human being? So I think there's a lot of
in case the career doesn't work out.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Right. And like in general, like there have been cases where like idols, when they go on Variety, I've often seen cases where they are playing the characters, where they're portrayed as like someone who's not good at the pop quizzes or like someone who doesn't know a lot about history and that kind of deal. So there is a common pattern there. There's a bit of debate and argument over like how we should solve that, how we find that balance. So I think that's why that's been kept out. That's my guess.
Additionally, there's a big argument whether you should allow minors to even debut as idols specifically.
That's
another
true.
That's a big debate, right?
I mean, to me, like them going in this direction is that I think they're not going to step back and say no minor debuts.
Exactly.
I think, I think they're accepting it and then like trying to protect it and keep it under control.
Well, that's better than nothing at all, I think, in my opinion. Like regulate it if you can't eliminate it.
Right. Like, yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna say. Because like, I feel like if they ban it, it's gonna happen anyways, and people are gonna lie about age. Like,
well, yeah, and here's the thing: these are all proposals, and this is an action plan. I doubt 100% all of these will happen, but at least it's a step in the right direction, and it points out that the government is thinking of things like this.
Yeah.
Semi-annual inspection sounds a little ambitious. But we'll see what happens.
Quick takes. The first one: big hit labels officially launched their IPO today. The price was initially listed at 135,000 Korean won, which is about $160 USD, with 4.27 million shares up for purchase. The total amount offered was 962.6 billion Korean won, which is about $830 million USD. And they offered up about 60% of their total stock holdings, not 60% of the company, but 60% of the stock, because Bang PD holds some, the investors hold some, BTS members hold some, right? So only 60% are up. I heard, I don't know the specific numbers, but that because the stock is now listed, a ton of people put money into investment accounts today in Korea, like more than ever before. I heard it was like 4 trillion won went into like accounts today.
Oh my.
Yeah.
Well, good job, armies.
Yeah, right. So I also heard it's not like easy, like in America. I don't know if you all know this, but if you want to buy a stock, you just have an account and you could probably just buy it, right?
Right.
I don't know the specifics, but I heard it was like hard to get the shares.
Wow.
Which is generally not the case with stocks. All right. Other BTS news: BTS to perform at the 2020 Billboard Music Awards on October 14th, marking their third straight appearance at the annual award show.
Hey.
BTS has also been nominated for Top Duo Group and Top Social Artist, both awards that they won last year. So that's that. Next, BTS and Blackpink nominated for the 2020 People's Choice Awards. BTS was nominated for the Group of 2020, the Song of 2020, and the Music Video of 2020 for Dynamite, and the Album of 2020 for Map of the Soul 7. Blackpink was nominated for the Group of 2020 and the Music Video of 2020 for Ice Cream featuring Selena Gomez. The awards show will air on November 15th. All right,
I mean,
we got some
popular music video.
We got some NCT news for Anita. So, NCT's second album, Resonance Part 1, but there's 2 parts of that, so that's all confusing itself. Will include tracks from NCT 127 called Music Dance, NCT Dream called Deja Vu, and Wavy, which is called Nectar, when it releases on October 12th.
Nectar.
Music Dance is an Afrobeat dance song, so that one is for NCT 127. Deja Vu is a hip-hop pop dance song, that one is NCT Dream. And Nectar is an intense song with a hip-hop feel for Wavy.
Wow.
Okay.
So I think those are on top of those other units that we were expecting, and then
Is it?
additionally,
Wow.
I'm not that sure honestly at this point, Anita.
Do any of us know for sure? at this
No.
point?
So the next one, NCT's reality show, NCT World 2.0, on Mnet will begin on October 15th.
Okay. Let's go into T.
I know we probably messed up some of the NCT stuff. We'll just have to see when the album actually drops, because that will be the best way for us to know exactly what happened, right? I think not only we are confused about what's going on, but next, Super M Super 1 sold over 104,000 copies and ranked number 2 on the Billboard 200 album chart.
I like how on the
I spelled copy
script-
really wrong.
copious.
Copious, yeah.
They sold copious amounts of the album, so
They did. 104 is a lot.
Yeah.
Next, K Contact Season 2 rounded out their lineup by including We I and IZ*ONE and will begin on October 16th. You can find the full lineup online. There's a blaring omission that Warren wants to reference here of Rocket Punch and all Woollim artists from the K Contact Season
What's
2.
up with that?
Yeah.
big disappointment. Immense amounts of disappointment. I'm very sad.
All right, next, in place of Idol Star Athletics competition, Idols took part in the 2020 Idol Star Esports Championship
Oh my.
and the 2020 Idol Star Dog Agility Championships
yeah.
over the Chuseok holiday. So you could go find those online. So they did esports and they did like dog agility competition.
Yes, so cute.
And those make sense because you can be you could practice safe social distancing. I believe for the esports one, they had everyone in there, like, you know how esports in Korea, they lock you in a booth when you're playing? Basically, they did that with each of the teams. So that makes sense.
Smart.
That makes sense.
Lastly, a bunch of big comebacks were announced, with 17 releasing a special album titled Semicolon on October 19th. Twice will release a full album titled Twice of October on October 26th. Monsta X will release their third full album called Fatal Love on November 2nd. And the virtual girl group KDA from League of Legends will release an EP titled All Out on November 6th, which is about a week after Worlds ends this year.
Oh,
I find it incredibly disappointing that Twice of October is not dropping on the Twice of October. Like, that's kind of... No, only me? Okay. I
you're
guess
saying,
comebacks
like-
and releases.
So you think they should be released on the 2nd? Is that what you're
They
saying?
should have released it 3 days ago, or 7 days ago, or whatever.
All right,
October 2nd, whatever.
Bad joke. Hit us with them comebacks and releases, Warren.
October 6th on Tuesday. We have A-Lee coming back. October 7th on Wednesday. We have Cosmic Girls or 우주소녀 초코미, their unit debut on October 7th Wednesday, as well as Golden Child coming back on that day. October 8th on Thursday?
Oh man, all my dates are wrong. Thursday.
Thursday? They all say Wednesday right now. So October
Sorry.
8th on a Thursday, we got Wakey Makey coming
This
back,
was
as well as Kyuhyun of Super Junior. On October 9th, which is a Friday, as Doug has just corrected the script, Dawn is coming back, as well as Juhoney from Monsta X with a mixtape. October 12th on Monday, we have Pentagon, as well as NCT 2020 with their Part 1 album. And other confirmed release news, we have Akmu's Suyeon in October, 17 on October 19th. Real quick, it says October and as if it's like...
no, you were correct the first
Oh,
time.
is it
You were
correct?
correct.
Okay, because I thought maybe there's an artist named October and they're releasing on
no,
October.
no.
Okay. All right, let me just go back. In other confirmed release news, we have Akmu's Suyeon in October, 17 October 19th. B1A4, move your cursor, I can't see. B1A4 on October 19th, twice on October 26th. Monsta X on November 2nd, KDA November 6th. Very good sometime in November, and Mamamoo also confirmed for early November. That was a
Sorry.
really confusing calendar
Warren.
update.
Akmu Suhyun was that alien thing from last week. It's her.
Oh,
That's what
Wow.
it is.
interesting.
Yeah, because they released like a
Interesting.
teaser photo and it's also alien themed. So I believe it is her.
Is she an alien?
before- apparently. Before I move on, let me check if there was any crazy news that dropped while we were recording.
Man, Doug was just updating the script as I go along. I was like,
You
what-
did
just-
well until you second guess yourself, Warren.
Nah, but like if I didn't second guess myself, the listeners wouldn't know. Like we're a news platform, Anita. We gotta be honest with what's going on.
There was
behind
no
the
like additional hot news that dropped while we were recording.
All
So
right.
let's move on to Fuego takes. I messed this up again. Hot takes and Fuego questions with Harold. So Harold's gonna come on. This week it's a take. We have a take again, not a question this week.
All
It's
right.
been a while.
Let me go get.
Time to take out my spicy hat, my
Ooh.
sriracha microphone.
Sriracha.
What else is hot? Anita, help me here.
Jalapenos.
Oh.
You know who reported you for copyright? It was me.
Harold.
But
Do you work for YG Herald?
all day, every day, baby. But the hot take of the week is big K-pop groups have given up on promoting in Korea to cater to the Western market. Boom. Bye-bye.
Bye.
You know, I think YG is really hitting their low point. They hired a guy like Harold to work for their company. Can you believe that? This week's hot take was brought to you by Therese from our Discord
you,
server.
thank you.
Shout outs. Thank you.
Shout out to Therese. Yes. But
Let's
all right.
talk about this.
Big K-pop groups have given up on promoting in Korea to cater to the Western market. Ooh. All right. I'm
All right.
assuming by big K-pop groups, the ones that come to mind for me: BTS, Blackpink, Super M, right?
And Rocket Punch.
K, sure.
Okay. Sorry, no, I'm just kidding. Well-
I don't disagree with this, but I don't think it's a bad thing. Like, I kind of agree with this, but I don't think it's a bad thing.
Well, I mean, let's agree or disagree first. I don't care if it's a good thing.
All right, let's
or a
go
bad
around.
thing.
I semi-agree. What about you, Warren?
I disagree.
Oh.
What about you, Anita?
I kind of agree. I kind of agree with this.
Here's where I disagree. I don't think they've given up.
Okay.
I think a lot of the groups are trying to see if they can fit in. Like, it's I can't say it's a long-term strategy until like they've done it for 3-4 years. Like
Fair,
Super
fair.
M's been around for a year. Blackpink's actively tried to make their way into America for like the past 2 years. Twice is the other group that comes into my mind when I'm thinking about groups that are trying to enter the American market, right? More and More was definitely more of a song that is like targeted towards the Western audience. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe Twice is, trying to relive the JYP dream of coming to America as well. That being said, like even for Twice, it's been one comeback. I don't think they've given up yet. It's more so they're tipping their toe in, they're dipping their toes in the water, trying to see if it's cold or hot, I think that's kind of way it is.
Would you agree, though, there is a shift towards it, though? I'm not
Oh,
saying
there's
giving
definitely
up.
a shift.
A shift,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I agree. The take might be worded too harshly, right? Like,
Okay.
give it up. No, they ain't ever doing it. No, I agree, though, that there's definitely a shift. I also got some source material this week. So,
Oh my goodness, look at you prepared.
there was an article I found that said like big groups like BTS, Blackpink, and Super M are taking another route by releasing songs at 1 p.m. Korean Standard Time or midnight Eastern Time. So, traditionally, K-pop songs are released, I would say 6 p.m. Korean Standard Time, which means we get them 5 a.m. here in the Eastern Time Zone in America, right? Blackpink dropped the album midnight Eastern or 1 p.m. Korean Standard Time, and they think that these groups are trying to target the American audience instead of the Korean market, and they definitely can afford to.
That's true.
And additionally, they stated that in the article that BTS, Blackpink, and Super M do well on not really Super M, but they do well on the Korean charts no matter what time they release the songs, which is kind of true as well, right?
Makes sense.
And they said, additionally, now many comeback stages are happening on American TV shows rather than on traditional Korean music shows.
I mean, one other thing that I've noticed with these groups, right, is like when I think about typical K-pop groups,
Yeah.
what constitutes with a normal promotion schedule nowadays is like they do the music shows, they
Yeah.
go on radio, they do a couple variety shows, they show up on internet variety shows, and they always do a fan meet. That is like the staple, right?
Yeah.
Those things. I don't quite follow BTS's promotion schedule quite closely enough to tell, but I know Blackpink. It's been a while since they did a fan sign. Sorry, I didn't mean a fan meet earlier. I meant like a fan sign event. Like
Yeah.
Well, I also don't know BTS's schedule. I won't claim I do, but
Yeah,
they
we're
have
not
been doing
on
a
our
lot
group,
of Western TV promotions. They did the whole
Right.
week of
Yeah,
Fallon.
yeah.
They did America's Got Talent, I think a week or so ago. They've been doing a lot of them. I think
Right,
that's a
right.
great thing, personally.
Yeah.
In terms of the take itself, like I do think there's a definite shift to trying to capture the Western market because we got to strike while the iron's hot, right?
Right.
There's so many eyes on K-pop right now, more than there's ever been. I also think that the argument Warren has been making consistently over the past half a year is that K-pop is becoming more niche.
Yes.
I agree. I sort of agree with that, and I think this is a reflection of that because they realize K-pop might be becoming more niche. Therefore, what's the next market we could hit up? Western market makes sense, right?
Right.
So niche in domestically.
Niche domestically in Korea. It's becoming more like, do you like K-pop? Do you not? Instead of this is just general music.
Right. I mean, it's becoming more and more of a situation where if you're not the target audience for these songs, you're kind of not consuming it. And sure, your song might be doing really well in the charts, but I often find the case where like it's a specific like demographic or group of people that is listening to a song rather than a specific group of people representing the vast majority of the Korean, like nation.
So, Anita, you also semi-agreed with the take initially.
Yeah.
Can you expand on that more?
Well, I kind of going off on the statistics, right? Like the information about the release times nowadays for those three groups that we mentioned. I also feel like in the content that I've been seeing recently from those three groups, and I guess Super M, like their main message, their main concept is this westernized version of K-pop, I guess, which is very interesting. But I guess I'm reminded more of our review of the album, right, of Blackpink's album, and I feel like a lot of the collaborations, the sounds, the lyrics, the language choice was definitely catering more to being accessible to a more general Western audience, I guess. And I guess, yes, the wording of the take is a little severe.
Extreme.
Yeah, because I think as Warren has mentioned, I think with his analogy of like dipping their toes in the Western market, it doesn't seem like they're giving up. It seems more like we're not worried about the domestic market right now, so let's put our efforts and try some stuff out over here. And I guess that makes sense because the people that seem to be doing this pretty heavily are well-established, well-backed groups. Like they have nothing to lose here. So I guess it works for them, and
you can't blame them for doing it either. It's a big opportunity. I would also say, even with not big massive groups, the amount of content that's Western accessible, like with subtitles or something, or in collaboration with like American media companies, it's definitely increasing at a really fast rate, I would say, in terms of like the YouTube content that comes out that's subbed, or they do it with like BuzzFeed or things like that. It's definitely increasing for sure.
I mean, like even like fans with for these groups, right? Like I'm thinking about like Blinks, for instance, right? Like because I spend a fair amount of time in Korean communities, American community, and if I think Blinks, I immediately think of like Western fans. It's been a while since I met like a Korean Blink. That's like, oh, I'm Korean, like sure, like I've seen like I go on Hip Hop Alley all the time, which is a pop site, and they're like talking about Blackpink because like releases rap and whatnot. But like at the same time, nobody there is like, oh, I'm a Blink, right? Like nobody there buys their albums a whole bunch and stuff like that. But at the same time, I see more and more like people on Twitter, more and more people on Reddit, like showing up and saying, oh, like I'm a Blink, I like Blackpink. So I think
common.
Right. So I think the shift is definitely going to the West. While if we were thinking for a couple of years ago, like 3-4 years ago, right, when people said we are going to go international, that pretty much meant you're going to Japan or Southeast Asia or both or China.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of that is being focused into the Western market. Now the question is going to be, so we have the 3 or 4 runners we have here, right? BTS, Blackpink, Super M. Obviously, BTS is way ahead of the other two. I can't deny that. Let's be honest. I'm sorry for Blink or a Super M fan, but like, the question is going to be, okay, is Blackpink and Super M going to be able to get to a certain level of success in the Western market where I can say K-pop is popular? And the other question is, are groups that are under this like tier or like level are they going to be able to make it? Like, are the groups in this tier can they do it? Because Twice has definitely been trying to expand into the Western market. I say this again, and Twice has been typically where we gave them like the top tier last time we did the tier ranking. Right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm thinking,
I think I don't know if it's a take, but it's equal now, in my opinion.
I kind of agree because the focus has shifted away from the like just the Korean market and the Japanese market.
Let me say this: in my mind, it's at a minimum equal. That's what I'll say. Blackpink and Twice.
Minimum.
At a minimum equal. Additionally, I've seen two things I want to point out. Number one, I think the determining factor for a lot of this movement is how many English speakers do you have in your group, or how committed are you to
how
teaching
feasible.
English,
Yeah.
or how accessible is your content to English speakers. Those are all ways to put it, right?
Go ahead.
Well, I think that like BTS, they're all learning English. It's very obvious every time they do an interview, it's getting better, right? Blackpink inherently has 3 kids who could speak English, right? Super M, although they don't have a ton of English speakers, SM does a great job of protecting the fact that they're not great at English, right? So they never make...
Mark, though?
I know, I mean Mark Johnny, right? We got guys who can speak English, but at the same time, it's like they make sure that not all the members not knowing English is never a problem. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Facilitating that.
They facilitate it so well for them, I would say.
Now, I do want to note, though, like, I don't think the entire industry is shifting to America. I think a big portion of it definitely has, but, like, if I'm immediately thinking about
Rocket
Punch,
wait, Johnny's not even in Super M. What did I'm sorry, sorry, yeah, that's what I meant. But NCT's kind of sort of in this category too, I would say.
But yeah, going back to what I was saying, like, I don't think the entire industry is shifting, right? If I think about like some of the smaller groups, like Rocket Punch, right? Like, I know that the members are actively learning Japanese. What does that mean to me? They're trying to move into the Japanese market, which has traditionally been probably the second or third hottest place to kind of consume that entire industry.
And it's feasible for them too, I think.
Right. It's much easy. I would say it's much easier to break into Japan because it's established that K-pop can. So it seems like the progression now is secure the domestic market, right? Start to release stuff in Japan, see what happens. If that goes well, because you know how China was supposed to be the new frontier, but because of all the political tensions, that's not really an option as much anymore. So it seems now that the third progression is to then try to go Western if you're still gaining momentum then, right? So the bar is pretty high to try to do that, but at the same time, there's groups like ITZY who did a showcase tour in America. They appear on tons of content that's English-based because they are definitely committed to teaching ITZY like English. You could tell on a lot of their content.
Also, shout out to 80s because I remember during debut, they did a lot of touring in the US.
Overall, I think it's... Well, as a Western fan, of course, I'm happy, right? The counter argument I've seen a lot online is K-pop is becoming less Korean. That's or less K... Like, is it still K-pop? That's a lot of the arguments I see, right?
That's basically what I said.
That's a whole other debate.
That's a whole other argument.
A story for another time.
But at the same time, like, I can see where both sides of that argument are falling, right? Like, overall, though, to wrap this up, I don't think you could blame any of these companies or groups for wanting to break into the Western market. It's just there's so much potential monies, right? Like outside of Asia, I would say.
I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Like, why settle for something when there's a new frontier? Get on your horse wagon, drive to the west.
Especially if you're in the train of thought that K-pop is becoming more niche than in Korea itself, right? Like, why wouldn't you try to seek out more new fans and expand more, right? That just makes sense from a business standpoint.
Yeah.
Overall, though, in terms of the take, I agree. It might have been worded a little harshly. Given up that's a take in itself. Anything that's just given up. But I think all three of us came to the agreement here that there's definitely a shift, especially at the top, right? And as Warren said, we'll have to see what some of the smaller groups or groups that don't have as much of a inherent Western friendly product. For sure. All right, I think I summed that up pretty well.
Look at you. Great
state of the nation. We're at here now. I don't have that much these days. Something I noticed though was Studio Chum, which is one of my favorite YouTube channels. They do like those 4K dance videos that are beautiful with the clean sets and stuff. They're starting to do an artist of the month thing.
Okay, that's kind of interesting.
And for October, the artist of the month is IZ*ONE's Cheon. So she released a video today for God, I forgot it off the top of my head. Let me find it off. What's that Ariana song? Something rings. How many rings were there?
7 rings.
7 rings.
That's the one.
Like my hair.
The one.
Gee, thanks.
That's the one. How many rings were there? She released the dance of that. I don't know if it was original choreo or whatever, but go check that out. She's crazy good. Other than that, we've been playing that Minju K-pop card game on the server. I've become a CEO overnight. It's weird.
SojuTalk Entertainment over here.
Yeah, we're not number one anymore because like we're not too crazy. We're kind of chilling as a whole.
Know what? It's okay. It's okay. You don't have to be top of the industry.
I mean, my whole life is like, you know, get the maximum for the least amount of effort, right? So that's what we do. We just chilling, you know.
I heard that we have some naysayers because of how influential this company has become, and like some people are like unhappy about us. Oh man.
Yeah, like let's just say like it's honestly like a flex who could be bigger. But we've taken the perspective or the stance like let the other people destroy each other and talk bad about each other. Let's just stay under the shadows and just chill and make lots of money in this game, right? So that's the approach we've taken because we chilling. I don't know. I'll try to think of other things to say, but Warren, how about you?
It is my second week counting down to Show Me the Money Season 9.
Mm-hmm.
That means I'm going to be continuing what I did last week. Introducing this year's producers and judges. This week I'm going to talk about 3 people in specific that I don't see often together, but when they do come together, man, it's a great combination. And that's Groovy Room and Just This.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about Groovy Room first. They are a producer duo from Higher Music. I almost said Highlight there. My goodness, wrong group, wrong company. They are quite a handsome looking duo. I know they have a lot of fans who like them, but they are also a very great producer. They
very talented.
Very talented. Everything they put out, they have a very wide spectrum. They go from like old school to like pop oriented to trap, quick, just like that. And I think that is the biggest pro of having Groovy Room on your producer team. Like they have a very wide spectrum, and you can kind of do anything, and they'll always be at least better than average. They had an album a while back called "This Is Groovy Room" or Groovy Room. There's a purple cover with like tracks from Jay Park and whatnot and Hayes. Great album, but the first guest opener to that album is Mr. Just This. Now I have to say, Just This is probably one of my top 5 favorite rappers.
Of all time?
I don't know about all time. That makes it difficult, Anita. Okay, well,
now then.
Top 5 right now. If I had to pick, his album's right here. Right here. I don't know if you can see it in the angle, but I also have a copy of his album right here. It's called Too Many Homes for One Kids. Bring rap Just This. This guy raps like a monster. Every time he gets appearances on Show Me the Money, dude, I don't know why people bring him on as guests, cause like immediately EK is not in your field of vision. Kid Millie is not in your field of vision. This guy is. He just comes in, rips up the entire beat, just kills it, and then he just bounces out, and you don't even get to see his face because it's like his hat is like so low and whatnot. If you don't want to spend the time of like going too deep into this guy. He had one of the biggest benefits of this guy. One of the biggest pros of this guy is how deep he can get with the lyrics. And the other pro is that while a lot of the old school rappers per se that like they might have deep meaningful lyrics, but they have that boring like sound that's not like super like interesting to hear. I'm talking to you, Douglas, right? Because like you really like rappers who are like fast and aggressive and like it's like a video game. Woo! Just This is one of those people who have like different flows all the time, and he's just like.
I know the name, and I'm sure if you played some of the popular songs, I would know the song. But off the top of my head, I'm gonna have to go check him out later.
Yeah, he has a cipher. No, he has a freestyle. He did on Jay Park's radio show on YouTube. Just look up Just This Freestyle. It's JUSTHIS. Just This.
All together.
All together with one T. So
Okay.
check it out.
All right,
Quick question.
Anita.
I
Anita
had
got
a quick question for
She got a
Warren.
question. She got a question.
Because the cipher was released for Show Me the Money, correct?
Right. The cipher
Did
came out.
you watch it?
Of course I did. You want to talk about the cipher, Anita? Is that what you want to do?
Yeah, what did you think?
Why don't you tell me how you felt first? Let me put
Um,
my CD back in the little thing.
Well, I watched it with my siblings and we were talking it over because we were kind of comparing it to previous seasons, right? And kind of looking at the lineup and some familiar faces and just the vibe that was a little different, I think, for this one. Personally, it felt more chill, like not as intense as I think some other ones have been off the top of my head. And I guess for me, yes, the highlight was Just This as well with Groovy Room. I liked their section. BY was pretty good also as well, memorable ones. Very interesting to see Zion T as well.
Oh,
which-
yeah, he's back as well.
Yeah.
The,
But I
the,
don't know.
the thing is, like, we've had ciphers for about, we had season 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't want to talk about last season. Season 7 was pretty good. Season 6, I think, had, like, the best cipher overall. Like, everyone's verses were on point. And, like, you know, you had Dean with, like, R&B. I'm not even gonna try to do that, right? Like, it had some killer moments. And, you know, because of that, I feel like this season's cipher has been a little overlooked. But, you know, I think, you know, everyone kind of showed off what kind of music they are wanting to do. Barring a little bit of Justice and Groovy Room, because I feel like Justice was just kind of doing Playboy Cardi parody, to be honest. But I mean, that's pretty cool too, honestly. Because it began with Code Coast and Palo Alto, which I mentioned last week. And they had much more of a chill, laid back thing. Where I know Palo Alto can be like very like aggressive and like very in your face, but he didn't. He chose not to because they're kind of holding it back. They're showing off that, hey, you know, we the OGs. OGs don't gotta like, you know.
We know we're cool.
Right. The other, I'll get more into detail about this next week, but Dynamic Duo and BY, which they are now calling themselves the Dynamic Trio. That's a little cringy in my opinion, but whatever.
Oh, I like it.
Okay, well, I guess you and I have different tastes. Yeah, oh well. I think their rap was like very like on point. But never in the whole part did I feel like I was like really blown away or anything. Dear Boy also had a very like core, you know, very back to the basics, essential kind of rap. Whereas like if you look at his previous ciphers, it has been stuff like I'm good at eating. I'm really good at eating. I eat crab. That's literally his lyrics. I'm like translating them in the spot. Whereas this time around, he had more of a like a rap flow and more of like back to the beats, OG, you know, like. And then you had Zion T on the thing right before where he's like, it's just Zion T. It's back to Zion T. He's just really good at singing. Doug is like, I'm not really interested. Too bad, Douglas. This is where it's at now.
I support your interests. It's fine.
I think after the cipher, I'm a little bit more interested because I feel like I didn't see anything like super like definitive as to like what might be coming. So it's even more mysterious to me now as far as like the show and what it's gonna look like. So I'll keep up with it.
You have an interesting lineup this year, where people confirmed right now. I guess this is a spoiler alert. But people confirmed for the show right now is Swings.
Oh yeah,
that's crazy.
Yep, I know. 12 from Young and Rich Records. Oh, and Overdose from Make It Rain. Kundi Panda and Simba Sawari from Deja Vu Group. Yunbi returning from Highlight Records. Lil Boy coming back.
Lil Boy,
he's back. There was a lot of drama with Lil Boy and Deep Flow, which we'll get into in the coming weeks. Rohan from This Major Company, formerly on High School Rapper. Chillin' Homie. You like Chillin' Homie back in the day? No, never mind.
Let me look up.
He got the tattoos under his eyes.
And
he was good until he messed up.
Then we have a lot of, you know, more people. Debo.
Takua,
which is a little controversial.
Takua.
We have
Okay,
Munchman. You guys know who Munchman is?
No.
He was like the meme of last year. Like
Ooh.
him and Mush Venom, Ice Puff is coming back. Cox Billy, that kid is also coming back. Lay One is coming back. He's pretty popular right now.
I liked him. Yeah.
Bill Stacks applied. And then a couple of days later, Mnet released a press release saying criminals are not. Former criminals are not allowed on the show, which doesn't make any sense because they had one every season since season 1. So I don't know. Also, interestingly enough, Cox Billy applied, but Jaekyun also applied. Cox Billy is the alter ego of Jaekyun.
What?
So
What's
I don't
going
know.
on?
That's like the similar situation of having both Mamison and Mad Clown apply.
Oh. No. Okay.
So yeah, I mean, who knows? That is the end of that segment. Thank you for coming to my
Alright.
TED Talk.
Anita, that's your cue.
For me, two quick things. So last week I mentioned very briefly that I was on my list to watch was this movie called Memories of Murder. So
Did
I
you
did
watch
watch it. Yes, and I was so frustrated the whole time I was watching this movie. So
Why?
just some background, it was released in 2003 with a very familiar director, possibly director Bong Joon-ho, from Parasite, if you are aware of that. And it's based kind of loosely on the serial murders that happened in the 80s, late 80s, which I think is very interesting. I like that historical aspect to it. But oh my gosh, the process, right, of how these murders were investigated and in real life and in the movie, right? Because I think it's quite accurate in that depiction. It is so frustrating. It is. I feel like the whole time I was like, no, don't do this. Like, you should be doing this instead. But of course, this is
That's a
like
movie.
decades old, like the difference, right? In like procedures, technology, all of that. It's a really good movie as far as like suspense and
Do you
like.
highly recommend it to people?
Oh yeah. I mean,
Okay.
rated R, of course, so be aware of that.
Mhm.
As I think most people could guess by the topic, but it's just such an interesting. I think it made it a lot more interesting because I feel like yes, it was focused on like the mystery and like trying to solve this, but also the characterization. Like I feel like that's really cool the way that director Bong does it because I feel like it's so unique and it makes it a lot more entertaining and it gives you a little bit of like breathing room where this is quite intense in topic, but I don't know, very interesting. I don't know if you would also find it frustrating, but I would recommend it anyway. Second thing is a song. So just a quick song recommendation. This is kind of an older song. It's from EXO's album Sing For You. It was released in 2015. The song is called Girl X Friend. So girl space X space friend.
Girl collabing with friend.
Kind of. If you listen to the lyrics, you kind of understand it a little bit more. But it's just such a really good song. So this album was technically their Christmas season album that they released in 2015. Really great album. I think a lot of the title track, Sing For You, and then like the English version of For Life, which is performed by Dio, really great stuff. But this one I hadn't listened to before. I think it kind of went under the radar for me. Really nice song. It has that Christmas season undertone in the instrumental, really great. And the piano melody reminds me a lot of Nothing on You, B.O.B. featuring Bruno Mars. So in
Really?
case you
Okay.
know that song and you like it,
Interesting.
I would check this one out as well.
I played it real quick and immediately I heard the Christmas season like
The bells type of, yeah.
yeah, I mean we're still we haven't even had Halloween yet, but
Yeah,
you know,
not quite,
yeah.
but you could just sneak it into your playlist for the season.
real quick, kind of going back to Memories of Your Murder.
Mm.
It stars the actor Song Kang-ho, right?
Yes.
Who played a major part in Parasite as well. This is one of the first couple movies that really put him on like. He's like considered the top tier. It
makes sense. Yes, for sure.
Right. He's like considered top tier of like Korean actors. And this is one of the movies that really put him on there. This was what really solidified the Bong Joon-ho and Song Kang-ho
relationship.
Team.
Yeah.
Team.
Right. Whenever they work together, it's a good movie. So
yeah.
I mean, if that, I'm sure there aren't really much Song Kang-ho stands or biases out here. But, you know,
no, he's good. He's
a
crazy
great
good.
actor.
He's a great actor.
Good. You could just watch all of the movies he's in, and generally they're like excellent. Right?
Yeah, just don't watch Drug King.
Drug King.
Drug King is not a good movie. It's there. It starred him, but like, man, it was not a good movie. It was like.
All right, so not all of his films are good. You know, swing and a miss. In terms of next week, there are so many songs. The Uju Sonyo, Ailey, Golden Child, Wakey Makey, Kyuhyun, Dawn, Juhani, Pentagon, NCT 2020. We'll try to cover the main ones, but like,
do our best.
People will have to get omitted and be put in the other songs of the week, because we're not gonna cover 12 songs or something. But should be fun regardless. I'm excited for that NCT thing, and I'm really hyped for the Uju Sonyo unit because it seems like it's like orange caramel-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it should be crazy.
I saw a teaser.
I think that covers everything, though. This has been SojuTalk, your weekly shot at K-pop. I'm Doug. I'd like to thank Warren and Ada for joining me this week, as they always do, because they're nice peoples, I guess.
We are nice.
Go check out our Blackpink the album live stream review. Probably the best way to watch it is to get up to the point where Warren puts in the royalty-free music, listen to it a little bit because it's funny, and then go listen to the actual song, come back and listen to our reviews. We plan to do more of these live streams in the future for other things, maybe not even musical based. Maybe we'll just have a live stream and answer questions or something, right?
Who
we'll
knows?
have to see down the line.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
we'll see you guys. Keep going.
If you want to know when we do them, I mean, you should probably follow us on one of the social media
Instagram, Twitter,
platforms.
or join our Discord. The best way to reach us is on Discord, though, because like I'm pretty much there constantly.
Or subscribe to our YouTube. We'll put up community
that
posts.
too. We'll put a community post. But we'll see you guys next time, everyone. Bye. Rocket
Bye.
Punch, Rocket Punch,
Bye-bye.
Rocket Punch. Why aren't they
I'll do nice.
Special shoutouts to our Fiesta patrons: Based, Mina, Jenai, Goku Mama, Jacob, Nothiar, NJ Park, Nab Wilson, Tier. Thank you for joining SojuTalk, your weekly shot of K-pop. And special thanks to our Discord server mods: Jacob, K Music Erday, Malfiar, No Bias Nuna, Tuggle, and Wolf297.